Good morning everyone. It has been a while since we did a vlog, so I thought I would bring you along this week. It's not a particularly busy week in terms of having to make stuff to go onto the shelves, but I am going to jam pack my week full of lots of things I've been wanting to do for ages. I've been so busy, I've not been able to develop any of these sort of ideas that keep bumbling around in my head, and I've been writing down all these ideas of things I want to do, things I want to test, things I want to try, new products and that sort of stuff. So I'm actually going to use this week, seeing as it is a fairly quiet week for me, to actually do some of these ideas. I have been testing some new candle jars. We've done the first test run, not very happy with them. I think the wicks are too big, so I need to get those jars cleaned out and refilled and do some more testing on those. I also have a couple of other ideas running through my head. Before you see this video, I am doing a video about my soap dough, and I've kind of had this idea go through my head about the soap dough, and I want to test a couple of ideas on that as well, so I'm going to do that today. I've got a couple of other things that I'm working on as well, some new products. I've also got to get the pamper boxes out this month, so I'm going to be working on that today, finalising those, ready to go out tomorrow. On the 1st of every month, the contents of the box changes. You can order the pamper box at any time during the month, but on the 1st of every month I change the contents of that box, so if people are ordering them monthly, they know that they're going to get something different every time they order at the start of a new month. And I've got people who do like a 3-month and a 6-month subscription, so I've got to get all those boxes ready to actually send out tomorrow. I do have a couple of orders. I printed off all my orders this morning, and all of them I had except for 2 all had pamper boxes in them. So I've got the 2 sitting here ready to pack up that don't have pamper boxes in, so we'll get those packed up and sent out. I have actually included bonus lip balms with them because I'm going to run a special for the month of June. We're about to hit into winter here in Australia, and winter, your skin gets dry and everything like that. So I like to offer a free lip balm throughout the month of June when you place an order online. So because these guys are right on the cusp and they're going to see all the advertising come out tomorrow my time about it, I thought we'll include their lip balms for them in their package. So I've got to get those 2 packed up, and then the others I've just popped into my folder for all of my pamper boxes to do up later today. What we're going to do first of all is I'm actually going to get these orders packed because I've had such a rotten 3 days. I don't trust myself to go to the post office, so I'm going to get these packed, and then hopefully I can get hubby to drive us over about lunchtime, and I'll treat us to some lunch while we're out there. I'm going to get that done. I do have a soap to cut, and I've got a couple of things to clean up. I've got some dirty dishes in the sink because the dishwasher was put on Friday before I left, so I need to empty that, put the dishes in the sink, and then we'll get on with doing some more fun things. All right, let's get into it. So I unmolded this soap on the weekend, and then I actually left it sitting near an open window, and where it got a lot of that cold air pass over it, it has actually badly soda ashed. So I'm just going to get my steamer out and try and steam some of this off. Alright, so that has managed to pull all of that soda ash off there. It is nice and shiny and clean again. I'm going to leave it sit here for about 10-15 minutes before I touch it, because I find that this is now all slippery. I'm likely to drop it, knowing my luck at the moment, or put fingerprints all over it. So I'm just going to leave it sit there. Now, if you are here in Australia and you've been looking for a steamer, Cakes Around Town sell this one. It's a little fondant steamer, and they are the only place I've found here in Australia that actually sell them. Okay, so I have done my bit of a clean up. I'm still waiting for my soap to completely dry. It's almost done. I can do photos in a minute. But while I'm waiting for that to do, the first thing I'm going to make is some more soap dough. So as I said in the video you've probably seen just before this, I have released a soap dough recipe over on the Patreon page, which is available to patrons for the month of June 2021, and then it will be available on my website for sale. But I do need to make some more for myself. White is the most common colour I use because I make all the stars for my constellation soaps in it. So I need to make myself up a big batch of the white soap dough, and I want to test a few things while I make it. I also want to see if my soap dough recipe will work in Lee's new sprinkle sheets. If you haven't seen them, I did a story over on Instagram about them. That's these things, and they're just lots of little shapes, and you can put your soap into here and then pop them all out. And I want to know if the soap dough recipe will work in these, because it's a really nice hard soap that it makes, so hopefully it will pop out really nicely. And I also want to see if this soap dough recipe will actually pipe nicely, because it sets up so hard. It would mean that if I'm piping things like roses, it should be nice and firm on the top of the soap, so when I go to cut them, we shouldn't end up with any broken leaves and that sort of thing. So that's something else I'm going to test today. I just have to decide which fragrance, which flower I maybe want to pipe as well. So I'm going to start getting the oils and the lye ready for that. It is cool enough today that hopefully if I make them now, by this afternoon, I can actually make the soap dough up. So I'm going to get stuck into preparing the oils and the lye for that, and then I'll do the photos of the soap that I've got sitting here, and we'll get that one cut open as well. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of this soap. That is the inside. How cute does that come up? Really, really love how this soap has come up. There is my little doggy on the top. He's so super cute. What I'm going to go and do now, we're almost at lunchtime. I have said to hubby I need him to run me around the post office so I can make sure we get there nice and safe. We're going to go and grab some lunch, and then when I come back I do have to take a few photos of some things. I also need to start packing the pamper boxes, so we'll get onto that as soon as I get back from off lunch. Alright, so we are back from doing the post office run. We grabbed some Subway while we were out. I did a bit of a silly thing. I ordered myself a grilled buffalo chicken wrap, or a buffalo chicken grilled wrap, something like that. And I kind of didn't think that buffalo stuff is usually spicy. So my mouth is absolutely on fire. I also wasn't expecting it to be as spicy as what it is for such a big sort of name brand. But it was really, really good. Just before we actually went out, I'd literally locked up the shed and was just about to head in the house with all the parcels. And one of the freight companies arrived. And they brought me this great big box. This is something I have been eyeing off for months and months and months and have been debating whether to buy one or not. And I decided last week I was going to purchase it. And I'll show you what I got inside. Okay, so what I have ordered for myself is a brand new wax melter. This is a big 27-litre wax melter, specifically for candle making. Now, I went ahead and actually ordered this. I've been eyeing it off on the Luxury Candle Supplies website forever. Well, I say forever. Probably about the last 8 months I've been eyeing off this and thinking about whether to buy it or not. I knew I needed to get a new wax melter. So these are my current wax melters here. I've got one for my wax melts and one for my candles because they do take different styles of wax in them. I bought this particular one first, and I think I have had this one now for about 7 years. And then I bought this one when we moved into this, or just before we moved into this house. So this one's about 5 years old. And every time I switch these on, I do worry about whether or not they're going to keep working. The company I got them from were on eBay. They're a legitimate company. And they are no longer in business. But what they were, by the looks of things, are some coffee urns. You know, the urns that you see in like the canteen halls and stuff like that. So they were coffee urns, and they've actually had the switch in them, the boil dry switch turned off on them. So usually with those coffee urns, once they run out of water or coffee or tea, whatever you've got in them, they generally turn off the heating element. So when you put wax into them, because there's no liquid in them, it doesn't know that there's something in it to stay on. So they override that dry switch sort of thing, which probably technically is not the right thing to do. It does void the warranty on them, things like that. And if anything happens, they're probably not really insured, even though they were sold as candle melters. So I've got a few things that I have got planned for this year, which kind of involves getting rid of equipment like that, which do have a slightly questionable sort of feel to them, and then upgrading to some bigger equipment like this. So this is a melter that has been designed specifically for melting wax, and I should be able to get a whole box of wax into this with a bit of luck, which means then I don't have to have my boxes of wax sitting around on the floor, which should actually give me a bit more floor space in here, which I'm really, really looking forward to. So I'm going to get this one unboxed, see how much space it takes up on my little unit there. Got a feeling I'm going to need to build a brand new sort of shelf for it to sit on, but we'll see in just a moment. Okay, so that's not too bad. I have got this almost filled all the way up to the top. I'm going to leave it like that because I have no idea how long this is going to take to melt down or anything like that. It may be that I only half fill, and then once that's melted, I fill it up some more because that can actually quicken the time the wax is going to melt down. I've got probably between 2/3 to 3/4 of that box of wax in here, so I'm pretty happy with that. It does mean I don't get to free up too much floor space, but you know, I'm used to working like that. So you can see that this pretty much takes up a good portion of that. That's where the previous pot was sitting, and you can see that's kind of encroaching in on that area. I can't get this other pot on there with that, and if I get a second one of those, I'm certainly not going to get 2 on there. So what I need to do is actually build myself another one of these, and I'm probably going to build myself 2 small ones, not quite as high because I don't need the wax to drop down quite as far as it does. Build 2 of them, 1 for each. I then also need to go to IKEA and get myself another tabletop. I need the next size up from this. Alright, so I think I've got everything set and ready to go to make up the pamper boxes for this month. I'm doing at the moment all of the subscription ones, so everyone who has actually paid for a 3, 6 or a 12-month subscription, all of those get done up first, and then I work on all the other orders and get those sent out as they're coming in. What I did decide to do is make myself a cup of coffee. I just feel like I need a little bit of a pick-me-up. When I was shopping the other day, I discovered Moccona have brought out an almond milk version of their dairy-free coffee, so I got myself some of them. And I have got it in my brand new mug, which has been sent to me by one of my customers. Her name is Lisa, and she runs Heartsake Designs, and she does all of this original artwork on mugs. And what I think I like the most about her artwork on the mugs is normally when you see mugs with people's artwork on them, they're always a white mug on the inside. And I think because she's gone with these bright colours, it really pops and brings the sort of artwork to life. This one's got this lime green on the inside. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll leave links to her business down in the description box so you can go and check out some of her other art pieces as well. She's got some really beautiful mugs listed, and if you follow along with her on Instagram, she does post them on there quite regularly. So I've got my coffee, I've got all my bits. First of all, let me give you a bit more information about this month's pamper box. The 1st of June is the first day of winter down here in Australia, or in the southern hemisphere. We're starting winter. Australia starts it on the 1st of the month, just to make it easier to know when the seasons change. So what I like to do with my June pamper box is it's always a winter theme, and there are little things in there just to help us get through these cooler months. So for this year we have got, we've got some of our body butter. I'm putting in our bronzed Bum Bum body butter. It's got sort of a nutty floral sort of fragrance to it. I've reformulated the body butter this year. It's not greasy at all, and it's quite long lasting in terms of, as we get into the hotter months, it should last for shipping, which is good for me. But also it goes into the skin really nice without leaving that greasy feel. Leaves this really soft, almost powdery feel on the skin. So every box is going to get some whipped body butter. We're all going to get a Refresh Shower Fizzer. These are brilliant in winter if you've got sniffles or just can't get going on those cold winter mornings. It's jam-packed of menthol crystal, peppermint oil, eucalyptus oil, everything which is known to help try and clear the head, especially if you do have a cold. It's not a remedy, but it is useful. It just helps to clear your mind and you can get on with the day. They're also good for hay fever in spring, so these are a really good seller for me all year round. I'm also including one of the new Refresh soap bars. This design's not yet on the website because I still have 4 more of the old design to go before this one hits. But anyone with the pamper box is getting the new design of the Refresh soap. So it's just a brighter, bolder, very curly whirly pattern. Everyone is also going to get a caramel vanilla candle because personally I don't like it, but it is a very warm winter fragrance. Everyone seems to hone in on this one in the cooler months, so we're including that one. I'm also including one of our Refresh ointments. This has had a little bit of a makeover this year because one of the ingredients I was using last year is no longer available, so I've had to reformulate it. and I'm really, really happy with how it's come up. This is very similar to other popular chest rubs that are on the market. It is an ointment, so it's not a moisturizer, it's not a balm, it is an ointment. So it does have lots of oils and butters and a tiny amount of water in it. And it's really good for rubbing on the chest, on the soles of feet. I often put a little bit on a piece of tissue and then I take that around with me. So if I've got a sniffly nose, I can have a smell of my tissue. The advantage with this over some of the popular ones on the market is there's no petroleum in this. This is all natural oils, butters and waxes, so that they get a bar of that. And then I'm also including not one but 2 random lip balms. So basically I'm going to dip my hand into the bucket and pull out any 2 of the lip balms to include in the bucket. We've got 20 different flavours in the lip balm, so it could be any flavours that go in here. So I am going to get to packing all of the subscription boxes, getting them all ready to go out. I generally do it on the last day of the month and I don't seal them until the first day of the month, because anyone that does have a subscription box for 3 or more months, they get a special shipping code. So the next month, if they want to add anything else to their order, they can do so, and I take the shipping off and it all just goes out in one parcel. And I do have some people who like to order very last minute. I had one once and someone had ordered at like 11:30 at night and I'd already sealed and sent off the parcels. So the next day I had to resend a new parcel and ended up costing me a lot of money to do so. So I've now learnt I do not send these until the first of the month to make sure that all of the last minute orders are done. So I'm going to get onto this and then I'll pretty much be getting towards the end of my day. Alright, so I am done for the day. All of the Pamper Box orders, both subscription and non-subscription, are all packed, ready to go out for tomorrow. Just have to do the shipping labels and finish any that come in overnight. Everything else is pretty much done. I know we didn't do much testing today, but I have got everything set up ready to do the testing tomorrow. So the first thing we'll do is turn on that melter and see how long it takes to melt that big full tank of wax, and then we can make some candle tests. I've got some refills to do as well, and then I have also got the soap oils and lye over there. That is all down to temperature. It'll probably be a bit cold in the morning, so I will have to warm it up. I'm going to go through my fragrances and see which one I want to do some piping with. Tonight though, it's about 5 o'clock. I'm going to head into the house. I'm going to feed Miss Lucy Lou because she's getting a bit restless. And because hubby is on a late tonight, I'm then going to take the opportunity to do a bit of my admin work so that everything is done for the week and I don't have to worry about that. We'll be back tomorrow and we'll get stuck into testing. Good morning, I am back into the studio. I've had a bit of an admin sort of morning. I actually got up late today. I was meant to take Lucy for a walk, but it was just too cold, so I stayed in bed. I got up, I've done some of my admin work on the computer, answered some emails, done some Patreon stuff, things like that. I've now come out to the shed. I have just popped the wax melter on. One of the things I did notice, it was telling me I had to have the tap so it's facing towards the left, so it's actually closed, and I couldn't get it to turn, and then I've actually realised the tap was loose. So if you are getting one, make sure you tighten the tap up so you can actually use it. I have set the timer on this one. I've used the full 120 minutes, so 2 hours, so that I have a better idea of knowing how long it takes for this to actually melt down. So we'll see how that goes. I've set it to about 85 degrees because that's what I want my wax to melt to. So I'll keep an eye on that, let you know how long it is going to take. It does also say to take the lid off because it is a plastic lid and this is metal, so it will melt if you leave it on. So if you are getting one, take that lid off. So we'll leave that one going. I have to go and pack some orders. And then I will actually be going to the post office around lunchtime again today. Hubby has had his car in getting some work done. He has got a old Ford GT, I think it was built in 1992, I think 92 or 94, something like that, a special edition car. It was his dad's car, and he has had it put in to get a full detail and get some of the paint work actually fixed up on it, and we've been told that it's going to be ready today around lunchtime. So I'm going to run him over to go and pick up his car, and while I do that, I'll do the post office run. So I need to get that one done first, and then I'm going to get stuck into doing some of the testing I'm going to do. So while I was doing my shipping labels, an alarm started going off on the pot, and I was really worried. I ended up turning the timer off and the alarm stopped. And I worked out that once this had actually got up to its full temperature that I'd set the thermostat at, the alarm went off while the timer was on, because when I turned the timer back on, the alarm started again. So what I've actually discovered is you do not need to set the timer in order to get this unit to work. You can just turn it on at the thermostat. So I have now turned the timer off, but it was a good experiment having that timer on. I realized it went off about 35 minutes into the timer going, and this pot was completely melted. It was up to temperature, everything was perfect. So gave me an idea that this was ready. Means then on those days where I've got lots of things going on, I can start melting the wax, and when it's ready, the alarm will go off so I don't forget that I've got the wax in there. So it is actually a really handy feature, but not essential to the whole thing of it. As I said, I have poured the rest of my wax in here, and I'm letting that come up to temperature again. And then I have a couple of candle jars. I actually need to clean them out and refill them. I'm doing some tests on them. My first lot of testing had the wrong size wicks. So this time I'm going to try wicking down and see if that helps. And I also do have some refills to do as well. So we'll let this come up to temperature, and then I will get all of my my jars prepped. Okay, so I have got all of these candles all done up. So there's some refill orders here. These two black ones in here, they are some test candles for me. And then I've also got these two right on the very end. These are just jars that I've had sitting on my side. They were left over from a custom order. I had them all wicked up and I decided to go ahead and just make them up for us. We've got some to use in the house. I will say I am super impressed with that melter. It has made it so much easier. I didn't have to worry about how much wax was left in it. In fact, you can hardly even see the wax going down in this. It's definitely been a really good investment, and I probably will get myself a second one next month or towards the end of this month. So that I have one for each of them. Just, as I said, I have to get that table all reorganized now so I can fit everything back on there. But I've got some ideas of what I need to do. But now that we've got the candles done, it's time to move on to the next thing that I am testing. And that is experimenting with my new soap dough recipe. So I'm going to make some white soap dough because I use a lot of it. I'm almost out and I'm due to make another one of the Constellation soaps. So I'm going to make myself a full batch of white soap dough. I always do my white and my black separate to all the other colours just because they are two of the hardest colours to get nice and smooth results from. So I do like to do my white and my black separately, and I add my colorant directly into the soap. So I'm going to add my titanium dioxide, which is water soluble. I've got just under half a teaspoon. I'm gonna pop it in there. I'll give it a good mix and then I'll start making the soap as we always do. I will leave a link to the soap dough recipe so you can see exactly how I do make this. I'm going to get all this started. Alright, so I'm going to start by pouring off some pieces for my white soap dough. Not going to quite fill all of these cavities up. Okay, so now I have got this in here. I want to do two different things with it. So what I'm going to first of all do is I'm going to pour off just a little bit, not much. That's probably way too much. You'll see why soon. Really only need the tiniest amount. I'm going to add a little bit of green mica into this one. I'm going to leave that to one side. So basically what I want to try and do with this, I want to do some piping, and I have got a fragrance oil in my box called Tiare and Sea Spray. So I thought I might try piping some Tiare flowers, which are little, they usually have anywhere between 6 to 8 petals on them, part of sort of the jasmine and gardenia family. So they're usually quite pointy petals on them. So I'm going to have a go at piping some of those. But the other thing I want to have a look at to see if my recipe is going to work, because this isn't quite thick enough yet, but it should be thick enough for this. Let me slide this board over. I have got these in. If any of you watch Wickedly, you'll know what they are. These sheets are for creating sprinkles with your soaps. And I wanted to know if my soap dough recipe was going to work in these, because you need quite a hard soap recipe to go in these, so that they come out and they stay nice and firm. And I figured that if my soap dough recipe works in that, that is going to be perfect, because you don't need a lot of soap to make these. So if you are making up even 100 grams worth of soap, which I did when I first started testing with them, and I managed to fill 13 of these, so you really don't need a lot of soap. And I figured if I could have some of the sort of leftover soap dough when I'm making up my soap dough, I can use the scraps of whatever's in the jugs to make these up. So I thought I would start by testing some today. So you do need your soap to be a fairly thick consistency, and I like to start off with a fairly clean spatula. I'm going to scoop some of it out. You just pretend the rest of that's not in there, and we're just using like the last of what we've got here. And I'm going to position my little template. I'm actually going to put it up the top to make things easier for me. So I'm going to put it on the top, and I'm just going to start wiping this soap dough across the template like this, and you're filling in all these holes, and I'm using the edge of my spatula to wipe away any excess. One of the keys to using these sprinkle sheets is that you do need to try and keep the top of it as clean as you possibly can. So wiping away any of that excess, so that when it comes time to popping them out, there's nothing actually stopping them from popping out. I do recommend when you are putting your soap on, hold them in place, and I also say pop them on top of some grease-proof paper so that they don't stick to your workbench. So I'm going to put all these in. So these are some stars. So these little star sprinkles will go onto the constellation soaps that we are doing. That one is almost all done. So this is the larger of the 2 stars. Lee had 2 sizes. I haven't actually checked to see if she's still got the 2 sizes of the stars, but I do like this size. When you are scraping over the top, be sure that you're not actually then digging the soap back out of the little cavities, more so with these bigger ones. I have then also got the smaller star one, so I'm going to fill that one up as well. So again, just going to grab some of that soap dough out of there and then just start wiping it over the top. Alright, perfect. So they are all done. Really happy with how they're looking so far. I am going to pop these over to one side. I've put them on a board so I can easily move them around. Going to get this into some piping bags and see if we can pipe some flowers. Okay, so the first tip I had in here wasn't really creating the type of flower I wanted. So I've swapped out to one of my favourite tips, which is a 102 Wilton tip. I just need to wait for this to actually set up a little bit more. I think it's still just that little bit too soft for piping with. So I'll leave it for 10 minutes and then come back. Okay, so this has been sitting here for another 10 minutes. It has firmed up really, really well. So let's see what we're going to get. It's still, it has firmed up, but it's still actually pipeable. In fact, that's piping much better. And I'm just doing lots of tall, long C sort of shapes to just try and get that sort of effect. It's not really looking like a tiare flower, but it's a pretty flower, so I'm not going to complain about that. Put a nice little yellow dot. They look more like daisies actually, but that's all good. We'll pretend that they are going to be tiare flowers. So I am happy with how this is piping. So it does require that little bit of extra time to set up. Right, my flowers are kind of getting bigger and bigger as I'm going. But I am really quite impressed with how this one is coming out. The only thing I am noticing very different is that I'm having to use a lot more soap on my soap nail. Usually I can put maybe 2 or 3 bits of paper per time that I do them, but this one it seems to go off with that piece of paper. When I take it off, it takes all the soap from underneath. So I do need a little bit more of sort of the extra to get this to, because that's not stuck on there properly at all. So I'm needing just that little bit more. But overall, at the moment, I am pretty happy with the result. I still don't have enough on there. Oh, I think that's because I've got that on the wrong way. Oh well, we'll go that way. But as I was saying, overall, I'm pretty happy with how this is actually piping. And tomorrow I will get to see whether or not these flowers are going to hold up well on a bar of soap. So I'm going to finish piping all of these up. I'm almost at the end of my day. It's about 3 o'clock, but hubby has got the day off today. So I will finish up in here about 4 o'clock today so I can go and spend a little bit of time with him. We've also decided we're going to go out and do a few things tomorrow, as soon as he's got tomorrow off as well. So we're going to go off and do a few things. I'm going to go and see if we can find a new bench to fix up my candle station. I also need to go and get a few items. I'm thinking we're going to go down to a place called Harbour Town down near the Gold Coast. It's like an outlet shopping village. So there's meant to be lots of really cheap outlet stores where you can go and buy big brand names and at cheap prices. Personally, I don't think they're very cheap. I wouldn't be paying $600 for a dress, that sort of thing. But lots of people like going there. But there's some kitchenware shops in there that I like to go into, and I actually need some kitchen sort of appliances. So depending what sort of time we get back tomorrow, I may come into the studio just for a little while to do a couple of catch-up things, come and check out the flowers and that sort of thing. But then on Thursday, hubby's back at work, so I will have some things to do in here. We've got to pack the trailer ready for the weekend markets. And I have a lotion I want to have a go at making, and a couple of other things as well. So I'm going to finish piping these up, as I said, and then pretty much clean up and finish my day. So I will possibly see you, if not on Wednesday afternoon, on Thursday. What a busy day, guys. It's been jam-packed. It's 2 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. I got up this morning. I showed a little bit of footage of it. It was a beautiful sunrise this morning. I couldn't help but film a little bit of it for you. So I was up and out the house about 6 o'clock this morning, went off to the gym. I came back, I got some breakfast, did a little bit of editing of a video, and then after that came into the shed. I packed some orders, and then hubby and I went out as I said we were going to. We had a little bit of a change. Instead of going to Harbour Town, we ended up going to IKEA because I really felt that fixing up the wax station was a lot more important than going to get these other things that I've been after, because I still have probably another 6 or 8 weeks to go and get these supplies. So we ended up doing that, and IKEA and Harbour Town are in two completely separate directions, and as I said, it was too big a day to try and do both of them. So I said, let's go to IKEA so I can get my tabletop. I needed to get some new spatulas and other bits and pieces, so we went and did that. Before I left, just as we were about to go out, I got a delivery. I'm really excited about this one. This is something I kind of took a bit of a gamble doing it. When you're on Instagram as a business, some of you may already know, you get so many people approaching you, asking you if you want to buy their product and that sort of thing. And most of it I just ignore because a lot of it seems really dodgy. But I had one, and I'm suspecting quite a few of you have probably also had them approach you. The Bulgarian lavender. The way he actually approached me was very different to how a lot of other businesses approach, and one of the first things that really caught my eye was he said that if I wanted to go ahead, I could pay using PayPal, and that for me was yep, this is legitimate business, so I was really happy to do so. Basically, what I have ordered, he is from Bulgaria, so we've got Bulgarian lavender, and he approached me, asking me and telling me about the Bulgarian lavender that they are now selling direct to the public. And to get this in, at the time of all the exchange rates, I was quoted $190 for a 1 kilo bottle, including shipping. And here in Australia, to buy a kilo of Bulgarian lavender essential oil is about $330. So I decided I would give this a go and see what happens. And this is what I've got. So it has actually been opened for inspection, but he has also put in all of the MSD data sheets in there, which is really good. Looks like there's a fair bit of information in there for me as well. I think there's a little bit about the actual lavender essential oil. Let's take it out rather than guessing. So we've got all the MSDS, so that's the safety if you get it in your eyes and that sort of thing. And then we've got the technical data sheet in here as well. This is excellent. So we've got all of the sort of specific gravity and all the rest of it on here too. So that is really useful. And then, oh, that must be something to do with the a sample, the testing from a piece of the sample of this. So let's get this open to have a smell, because I really, although I don't like lavender fragrance oil, I don't mind some of the essential oils. I really like French lavender and I like English lavender, but I do like Bulgarian. It's just never within my sort of price range to purchase, but with this company it is now definitely within that range. He has wrapped it very well. Let's get into here, and it's in a nice aluminium container as well, so it's all very well, very professionally packaged. There it is. So there is the Balkan Lavender Bulgarian essential oil. He's got all of the batch numbers on here, the weight, where it's from, who's manufactured. Really, really professionally done. So let me get this tag off, because this is always difficult. Oh, actually, these are nice and easy. Usually I struggle to get them off. And let's have a smell. Oh, we've got another little cap. Pop that one out. Oh, I can already smell it before I'd even popped that. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that is a really nice, good quality lavender essential oil. I am so looking forward to actually using that in some of my products. I will leave a link to his Instagram page below, so if anyone else is interested in ordering the Bulgarian essential oil, contact them and then he'll help to arrange the payment and tell you how much it is to your country. But yeah, definitely worth getting that in, because that smells absolutely beautiful. It's not, some lavenders have a real camphorish sort of smell and this one doesn't. So this one is really, really nice. Highly recommend them. Alright, so let's have a bit of a look at these. I am really, really happy with how these have come out. They still don't look anything like tiare flowers, but they are beautiful and hard and solid, and they've held their shape really well while they were setting up. So these are going to be perfect. Am I going to use it as my piping recipe? Probably not, because I think it might be easier just to use the same soap recipe, just pour off a little bit of the oils from my master batch. But at least I know if I do want to create anything that is really delicate, I can use this soap recipe to do so. So if I want to pipe some really delicate roses or anything like that, this is an option for me to use. I know that it does pipe well, so I'm really, really pleased. Let's go and grab the sprinkle sheets and we'll have a look at those. Alright, so it is getting late in the afternoon, so I thought I'd ask hubby to help me do this. I'd completely forgotten how we'd put that top on with all the different screws underneath, and that these drawers actually need unscrewing to take them out. So we actually created this bench. Those drawers there, they're two separate IKEA sort of, they're usually found in the office sections, but they were great drawers for storing everything. And then I bought a tabletop, or one of the desktops. I think this is the linen and Linon, and they have all different size ones. And originally I had the 1 meter on here. I felt the 120 wasn't going to be big enough. By the time I get a second one of these big melters on here, that's pretty much going to take up all of that space. So I didn't think the 120 was going to be big enough. I think the 140 is just a tad too long, but it was either 120 or 140. So we went with the bigger size just so I didn't regret it. Got it all set up. I do have now this bigger overhang, which means I can actually keep things stored under there a lot easier. And then I have got this other bit of overhang here, which if I grab this, I should be able to, after a bit of shuffling, actually put the dirty linen basket underneath there as well. So that just stops bits falling into the basket that shouldn't fall in there. So really, really pleased I have got that all done. Alright, so here are the sprinkle sheets. I'm going to peel these off of here. Now there's a couple of things that you do need to do to really get sort of benefits out of these, and a lot of this I have learned from Lee. She's been telling me some of the best things, and she also has a video. This sheet's actually not too bad, but generally, let me grab my scraper. Right, so just giving that a bit of a wash off. To successfully get these out of the sheets, you do have to have a nice clean sort of front and back. So I've got a scraper. Now Lee shows using a knife, but if you go into the hardware stores, you can get these sort of palette scrapers, usually like for wallpapering, tiling, that sort of thing, and they're nice and safe to use. And all I'm going to do is scrape across the back just to remove any of that sort of excess soap. And I'll just scrape it back off here. So this sheet, as I said, it actually wasn't too bad on the back, and most of the front we did when we were pouring them, but I will give it just a quick scrape over, and this just removes sort of that excess soap so that they don't get stuck. So I'll get that one done. And I'll start by getting one of the sort of more easier shapes. So we've got the dragonfly. Let's grab this moon. I'll move my cacti out the way. Oh, and my little ghosts, and they've already started popping. Oh dear, they've already popped out. Alright, so again, this one is actually pretty good. So that is a really good thing with this recipe. The first recipe I tried, I had a bit more of a dirty back on them. So happy about that. These have been sitting here now for just over 24 hours. I find the bigger ones you can take out after 24 hours. The smaller ones you do have to wait. But what I'm now going to do, so we've got it all cleaned up, and all you now have to do is just go around and gently push on them. It does help sometimes just to give your sheet just a very, very gentle flex. You don't want to bend it too much or you're going to snap it. But these will start to pop out. Let me grab my little skewer. Sometimes they just need a little helping hand just to let go. And there is our little moon. Absolutely love how this is. Oop. Now if I was to leave, there it is, if I was to leave these in the mold for another 24 hours, these should be hard enough that basically all I have to do is come along with these bigger ones and tap the mold, and most of them will actually fall out. So because I am interested to see how long this soap dough takes to set up, I'm not going to force too many of these out. You will find with these sheets that for some reason they will pop out one side easier than the other. So you can see they're popping out that way a lot easier. So let me pop them out of the way. I did just pick this ghost up, and already you can see they're kind of just popping. You see, I've just flipped that upside down and some of them have fallen out. I don't even need to clean this one off. I'll give that a bit of a tap. You can see most of the ghosts have come out. These bigger sheets are really good. So we've got lots of little ghosts. Just going to pop the rest of them out. So it does help to have your sprinkle sheets quite clean so they release out, but that one has been nice and easy to unmold. Oh, let me grab one of them. There he is, super cute little ghost, and I reckon if we got some little mica paint and just painted a couple of eyes on, they would be super duper cute. So we've got all of our little ghosts out now. Some of the shapes that you get, like these dragonflies, they're a little bit harder to pop out. So I've got a feeling I'll need to wait another 24 hours to do these. But basically, if you give the board just a little bit of a flex, I can see that some of them are already starting to pop out, like this one up here. And they'll just very, very gently, let's see if I can get that on my finger right so you can see it the right way. They do come out. You do have to be more careful with these ones, but they do. Whoop, and you can see these are actually popping out. So I'm really happy with this recipe. So this is the soap dough recipe, as I said. So you can see these are very easily popping out. I think if I leave this one in the mold for another 48 hours, these will be really, really easy to pop out, because I can feel that they've got a little bit of give in them because they are still a little bit damp or wet or not fully saponified, as we might say. There's another one there. But in general, I'm really, really happy that this is actually worked and is unmolding out of these well. The test was to see if these sprinkle. It wasn't so much bothered about the piping. I just figured we'll do it while I can. But I really was interested to see if the sprinkles would work, because then that is just a way of using up some of the soap dough colours. I don't have to make up a whole new batch of colours just to make little sprinkles for my soap. So really, really happy. But I am going to leave this sheet for another 24 hours and see if they pop out just as easy as our little ghosts. You've got other things like these cacti. Again, I think these are going to benefit from being left for just that little bit longer. I did have to leave my other recipe for about that 48 hours before I could start. But, oh look, that one has come out. It was a little bit harder. You can see how small it is. But I think I will be leaving that one for another 24 hours. We'll pop them out tomorrow. Same, I'm going to say, with these treacle. No, they're popping out quite easily. Let's pop you. No, I think that one's going to need another 48 hours. I know that my stars do. Just checking the back of them. I've done a really good job at not getting them too dirty, so we're not having to clean them out too much. But there are our little stars. So I will leave them, and I'll pop more of these out tomorrow. But that's just to give you a bit of a demonstration of just how easy these sprinkle sheets are. It allows me to do my little test. So really, really happy with that. Alright, so that is pretty much it for Wednesday afternoon. It's about 3:45. I just need to go and pop a couple of the things back away into the wax table area. I'm going to wrap up my white soap dough and pop it into my airtight container so that can do its thing over the next few days. And then I'm pretty much going to call it quits in here for tonight. I'm going to go and finish editing the video that I am currently doing. I'm actually editing the soap dough video for the weekend, but you'll see this video after that. But I'm going to go and finish doing that editing. And then I'm going to call it quits for the night and watch a bit of telly. I think I might get hubby to find a movie for us to watch. And then we will be back tomorrow. I have a lotion I want to make. I actually need to make a candle order as well, a wedding candle order. So I'm going to get on to doing that tomorrow too. So we'll be back for that. Good morning, guys. We are halfway through the week. Yay! So I have been up, I have taken Lucy for a walk, had my breakfast and come out here. I've got a little bit of cleaning up that I need to do this morning before I can get stuck into any of my work. So the first thing I thought I'd do was come in and pop out all of these sprinkles so I can start getting this area all cleaned up again. I'm popping them out onto a tray, and I'll leave them on the tray for probably about a week before I package them up into some little containers ready for me to use a little bit later on. They don't need that full sort of cure time. In fact, you don't need to cure your sprinkles before you can use them, but they certainly won't need the full 4 to 6 weeks either, because they are really small, they're really thin as well, so they should dry out quite quickly. And I tend to find having them sit on the tray for the week is that perfect sort of amount of time. So I am popping out the little palm trees at the moment. It's been about 36 hours since I made them. They are popping out really well. They'll probably could do with another sort of 12 hours to really harden them up in the sheets, but they're popping out well, so I'm really pleased that the soap dough recipe does work with these. So I'm going to finish popping these ones out. We've had the plumber around this morning to fix the pump on our water tank, which services the laundry and the toilets. So now that he's been and gone and we've got our water back on, I can put my dishwasher on and we'll get all the stuff cleaned that's in there. I have to pack the trailer today, make sure that's all ready to go for the weekend. I then want to make my little test lotion this afternoon, and we have to make up some lip balms today as well, which will be going into the trailer. So I'm going to finish getting all of these popped out and then get on to the rest of the sort of tasks. Alright, so one of the items I needed to put into my trailer was some face scrub, and I literally had just enough base to make 3 of them. It was 1 gram over what I actually needed. So 3 of them for now is enough just to top up the trailer for this weekend. So I've got those 3 done. I will have to make another lot of the base for this one, so I might actually get that on. If not this afternoon, I will get that one on tomorrow, but the 3 for now should keep me going. And just hopefully don't get any online orders for it. But if we do, as I said, I'll get that base made up either today or tomorrow. And then I know I've got plenty of base to make these ones up. The base usually takes about 24 hours to make. So I've been a little bit slack making it because I have been trying to come up with my own foaming butter base. And I was kind of hoping I'd be able to make one before that batch ran out. But I'm just not being happy with any of the sort of trial batches I've been making. So it looks like I'll have to make up another one of what I currently use. The trailer is now all packed and ready to go. The only thing I've actually got to put in there is my lip balm top up. So that's what I have just measured out and popped on the stove over there. So I've just got those oils and butters, waxes and things melting down really gently. And then I've got about 8 different flavours to do. I think there's about 140 lip balms. Plus I'm going to redo my tester pots as well. I like to do them at least once every 6 months so that they are nice and fresh. So I'm going to be doing those for the flavours I'm doing. It has started raining. The cockatoos are going absolutely nuts. You may be able to hear them screeching away in the background. I don't know, I think they've all disappeared now. I'm going to come outside. You can see them all flying around. Absolutely loving this rainy weather. They're very, very destructive. Alright, so I've come back in. This one, she is not very happy. She's sitting and watching the cockatoos, but she's a little bit nervous. We've had the water pump all fixed up in the house, except for now it makes 10 times more noise, and she's not liking the pitch of the noise that it is making. We've asked the guy to come back out and have a look at it, because we're certainly not paying for a water pump that makes a whole lot more noise than what it was before he supposedly fixed it. So what I need to do, I need to go and wash my hands, get myself all sterilised again, seeing as I have just been patting Lucy-Loo. And then once all that oil and wax has come down, I'm going to pour out my lip balms. Then I have some beeswax, which I actually need to prepare for some of my other products. So we're going to go and do that. So the lip balms are all done. They are setting up. I'll be able to label them probably tomorrow afternoon. I do like to let them sit for 24 hours so that they are nice and firm, and then I can check the mechanism is working in the bottom of the lip balms. But I can't do that until they are set solid, otherwise it gets all crumbly and splits apart. So we'll leave that and do all that tomorrow. But what I am going to do for now is prepare this beeswax. So this, you may have heard me talk about on social media. This is the beeswax I get from a friend of mine. She's a family friend, and she has some beehives and she sells the beeswax as well. Now, if ever you've used beeswax like this, you'll know it's really, really hard to use when it's in this sort of format. So what I like to do is melt this all down. And then once it's all melted down, I pour them into lots of little molds, and I just make lots of little pieces, and they're all sort of different sizes. Let me grab a couple out. They're all different shapes, just whatever mold I pick up at the time. But I make them into different sizes like that, so that if I only need 2 grams of beeswax, I can usually find a piece in here that is small enough to make up that sort of difference. So I'm going to do that with this beeswax. So all I'm going to do is pop it all into this, into a saucepan. You can't see up there. I'm going to pop it into this saucepan here, and then I'm going to gently melt it down before pouring it into some ice cube molds. Alright, so that is what 2 kilos of beeswax looks like, all poured out into their individual molds. As you can see, I use just whatever molds I can get my hands on. It does set up really quick. If we have a look at this one here, so these are the pineapples. They're still warm, but they do pop out of the molds really, really easily. Even like these more sort of fiddly ones down here. So we've got the little apple. They are warm, so I'm going to leave them sit overnight so that they cool down before I put them away. But basically, whatever mold was available, they went into. Now, excuse the hat hair, I also realized I needed to make another batch of the body butter because I was completely out of the bronzed bum bum one. That is the body butter that is going into the mystery box, and we've had, or the pamper box, and we've had a few of those. So I'm making another batch of 10. I've got that on the stove top there. It's all melted down. Just need to wait until tomorrow when it's all set up, and then I can whip it and pop it into its container. I have had a dinner invite from my mum, so I'm going to head over there very soon. First of all, I need to get Lucy fed, and she is coming with me. I'm not going to leave her here by herself. She'll come with me, but she doesn't eat very well when she's at other people's places, so I'll feed her here before we head on off. I will be labelling lip balms tomorrow. I haven't forgotten about doing my tester on the moisturizer. I am going to do that one tomorrow. I don't actually need it until summer, so it's not essential, but I would like to get it done this week while it is a relatively quiet week. So I'm going to head off into the house, feed Miss Lucy, and then head out for dinner, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Good morning, guys. I have had a busy morning so far, just putting all the things together that I need to. So first thing I did when I came in is I emptied all of the beeswax melts into the container. I do have to find another container. Usually I only get 1 kilo at a time. This time I got 2 because I went through my last kilo really quick, but that means that that container only holds 1 kilo of beeswax, about 1.5 kilos, but I already had some in there. So I need to find myself a new container to store it in. I then got onto packing some orders, and wouldn't you know it, last night a couple of the orders that came through had foaming face scrub in them, so I've had to get the ones I made yesterday back out the trailer and popped into the orders. So I'll make some of the base up once I've done this, and then I'll make some more foaming face scrubs tomorrow once the mix is all cooled and done its thing. Excuse the noise, I do have the dishwasher on, so I basically put all of the molds, or a majority of the molds that the beeswax were in, I've put through the dishwasher. And yes, you can put your silicone molds through the dishwashers. I usually always put them on the top shelf because it's a little bit cooler than what the bottom shelf is, but it doesn't actually hurt them to do so, and it gets them nice and clean without wasting too much water. What else have we done this morning? So I'm now labeling all of the lip balms, so that is ready. So they'll be ready to go into the trailer as soon as I've done this. So I'm going to finish getting all of these labeled. I do need to put some wrap on them just to stop people from opening these up to try. And then I need to go and do my post office run, and then we'll come back and we'll start making some other things. Put on a batch of the foaming bath butter so that tomorrow morning I can make up some more of the foaming face scrubs ready to go in the trailer. So I'll finish that off. It'll need some preservative in there. It's almost done. But I don't like to make the products with it until it's actually cooled right down. I have made up my tester, or I've started making up my tester lotion that I'm looking to do. It's a kind of a range I want to do for summer. I want to make sort of like a sorbet or a berry inspired range of moisturizers, which will have all different extracts in them. Last month you may have caught the Patreon soap design soap, which had blueberry extract in it. And when I did that soap, I then started investigating blueberry extract a little bit more, because I had to buy it in a certain quantity, and I thought, well, how can I use this in other products? And I've been giving a lot of information over on Patreon about the extract, and this month we'll be bringing out a facial mask that uses the blueberry extract in it, and I've been using it on my face and absolutely love it. But I wanted to be able to create this body lotion for summer. So because it is heat sensitive, I've made up a glycerin extract with it, and that needs to be added into the cool down phase of the cream. So I've taken my basic summer lotion that I offer every year, and I've just kind of adjusted it a little bit so I can add in that extra glycerin into the cool down phase. What I'm hoping, not only is it going to add a whole heap of extra benefits into the actual lotion, is going to put a beautiful color through it as well. So we'll see what happens there. It's going into its cool down phase now. Once it's hit that's when I'll be putting in the blueberry extract. I will be putting in fragrance as well, because the blueberry extract does not have fragrance in it, or it doesn't bring through the natural smell of blueberries. There's no smell to it at all. And then we'll put in some preservative, and then over the next couple of months I'll be putting it through its stability testing, which includes putting it into extreme heat conditions, not into the oven, but things like I'll take it to market and I'll sit it in a really sunny spot at the markets where it's going to get a lot of direct sunlight, and I'll see what happens there. I generally take them with me and put them on my trailer where the sun hits it, because I know that the trailer gets really hot where the sun hits it, and it will give me an idea of how the cream is going to behave in hot weather. I then also do things like freeze and defrost it to see how stable it stays, whether it splits or stays together. So it'll be interesting to see what adding this glycerin extract is going to do. I have added glycerin extracts into my lotions before, but it is always a pre-made glycerin extract I've used. I've never made one myself, so that's why I'm doing all this testing with it before I actually put it out for sale. And I also want to know what happens with the colour. So hopefully, because I'm adding it into the cool down phase, the colour of that blueberry extract should come through into the lotion. If it all works, later on in the year when I'm ready to put them out, I will do a much more detailed video on how I am actually producing this lotion for you. So hopefully for you guys it does work. Look how beautiful that looks. So that is just the natural colour of that blueberry extract. It's a real pale pink sort of colour. Really, really impressed with how that is looking. I'm going to leave this one set up overnight so it cools right down. Then I can have a little bit of a try of it. And then I'll put it through some of its stability testing. But it's not looking any different to how my creams would normally look. So I'm going to be pretty confident that this is going to be okay for me to be able to do a whole series in summer with them. I want to show you what this container is for. I have a little bit of a problem. I have a problem with extruder discs, and I finally found a solution for them. I've always had this green one. It's looking a bit right now. I got this in a de-stash group or de-stash box many years ago, and I used it an awful lot. I was then contacted by Mosaic Garden Soapworks last year, and she asked if I wanted to buy from her some extruder discs that she'd had from off of Lisa, and I said okay. And she sent them over, and when I got them, I hadn't been thinking when I said yes I would take them. She told me at the time that they were 23mm discs and she needed 24. So I just somehow assumed that this was 23 and she had a bigger extruder than me. That was not the case. These extruder discs are actually bigger than what goes into the green ones. So I jumped onto Lisa's site over at I Dream in Soap, and the extruder she reckons to get, as I've shown a few times, is the Fimo Professional Extruder Tool. And when I got it, it came in this beautiful little tin. So I started just throwing Lisa's extruder discs into this tin along with all the metal ones that came with both of these extruders, and it was getting to the point where I've actually ordered more discs from Lisa since getting that original lot, and this tin was getting so full I couldn't even get the lid on it. And then on top of that, I was ordering the ones from off Wicked Lee, and they're all in this box in here. Let's see if we can get it open. In here I've actually got her discs and her tools in here, and I have just got that many. I vaguely know what I have, but I don't know what I have, and it's so disorganized I wasn't feeling inspired to use any of it. So I'd been sitting for a while thinking, how can I actually start to organize these extruder discs so I can see what I've got, easily pick them out from what I need and stuff like that. So it suddenly came to me that I remember when I was collecting coins as a kid, you could get these coin pouches. And it took me forever to find them, but I did find some. And I will leave links down in the description box. But I was able to find some. You're probably not really going to be able to see them because they are clear. And that's no better. You're just going to have to trust me. They're clear. That's better. They're clear little pouches. And this folds down. And there's a little sort of thing on there. So they're like a little wallet sort of thing. And I remembered you could get these for putting coins in. And I thought, they're going to be perfect. Took me a while to find the little individual ones. I could find like the sheets for the coin collecting, but the sheet pockets were often, the actual pocket size in the sheet, I didn't think were going to be big enough for, I knew they weren't big enough for Lee's discs. I was also a bit concerned about putting some of Lisa's in because it doesn't actually give you that sort of finger room to put your finger in and pull them out. And I kind of also wanted it so that instead of having to pull out the whole folder and the sheet, I wanted to be able to pull out the individual disc I wanted. So at the moment I've got them in this, but it's a little bit big. So I want to put them into that box. But what I've done is I've gone through and I've kind of put in all of these discs in here. They are all little stockings, and on the back I've just popped a little sticker of what they are. So they're the I Dream in Soap ones, and they're the Christmas stockings. And then like I've got, there's like the Christmas cracker in that one. We've got I've got her set of hearts, so we've got the hearts in there, and it does mean that I can basically come through my little set here. This is the sandcastle, which is a 2-step one, so we've got the castle, and then this little one here, it does the door that's in the bottom of that castle. So I've been able to now put them like ones into the same sort of pouch, so they make up little flip-flops. And I've just written on the back that it's the flip-flop parts. So now I know that if I want to go and make a summer soap, I can come up to, I've kept her little tags as well. So I've kept the little tag that came with them. I know that all of my summer ones are in the back here. I've got all of my sort of Christmas ones down here. I've got all animal sort of inspired ones in here. So they're the butterfly wings. They were the large ones, and then there was also a set of small ones. I popped them in there, but I wanted to put them into a box that were going to be easier to keep them in. So I've kind of got this one that's got the compartments, and all I'm going to kind of do is grab them and just pop them in. I've also got, for her big boy extruder, I've got the really large discs, so they are also going to sit in here really nicely too. And the advantage is, so they fit the I Dream in Soap ones really well. I do also have, I have already started, let me see if I can get them out. I've got like a whole section of stars because you know me and my stars at the moment. So I've got the Wicked Lee stars as well, so we've got those in there. So I've labelled them so I know exactly what should be in each of the pouches, and then it doesn't mean if there's an empty pouch and I can't find the things, I know which ones I need to go and find. But the really good thing about having these pouches, so let me grab one. So we've got one of our little pouches here. I'm going to grab, I have to do this with all of Lee's as well. So this is from off her, it was her large one, the largest one she had at the time. She now does an even bigger one, but that's her little Santa hat. It's going to sit straight in there, and I'll make up a little tag. I may even put like a couple in these, so we'll put the stocking and the Santa hat in there as well. Depends how many I've got. I've got a box of 100 of these. Hopefully I haven't got more than 100 extruder discs. If I do, I've got a real big problem. But I'm hoping by doing this, it's going to help me sort out exactly what I do and don't have, and then you might see a few more soaps coming up that have these flowers. So with Lee's, I got both sets. I'll see if I can find them. What I'll probably end up doing, throw it all over the floor. So we'll grab that set because I can see that I've got both of them. So we've got 2 tulip flowers. We've got a small and a large, so I'll probably put the small and the large tulip flower into one, and then I'll put a tag on the back of it so I know what should be in my little envelope. Oop, and just pop that one in there, and then that will go into that box, and that does mean then that this box can actually be shut, so it doesn't matter if I drop them or anything like that, and it keeps all the dust and everything out as well. So if you, like me, are having a problem with your extruder discs, see if you, I will leave links to Amazon for England, not England, sorry, to America and Australia for something similar. They're not exactly the same as these. I actually got these from a local person, so I can't really give you the shop number, but I will leave a link to some that are very similar that are on Amazon that will do exactly the same job. So I don't have a problem at all with extruder discs. This is completely a jam-packed. I do have to make all the labels to go onto Lee's, but I've just thought it's going to take me 2 seconds to pop them all into these little things. Because hers are basically color-coded, all of Lisa's come in this beautiful blue, which matches in with her her whole branding. Leaves are in all different colours, so all the blue were water, the first lot of red was Christmas, we've got pink for flowers, I've got yellow for beach, there was some more red for Halloween, and then I've got some more of Lisa's down the back here. Probably next week I'll make the labels to go on them, but I figured it was going to take me all of 5 minutes to quickly pop all of those into here, and then that's just one more task that I have got done for the week. But they all fit nicely into my little container, so we can zip it up, and it's all nice and sorted. And now all I have to do is come along. What I'll do is actually make myself some proper little cards to go in the front, so I know exactly what's in each of the sections. When I'm ready to make a soap, if I want to make a floral, I can come along, I can grab the discs that I want, and I can just take these, and then when I'm finished, wash them up, pop them back into the thing, and pop them away. So really, really happy with how that's come together. All right, so there's Miss Lucy. She's had her dinner and she's now set for the night. We are down at the coffee table in the lounge room, also known as my candle testing station. There are always candles on this table in various states. They are certainly not perfect candles that are on this table. We've got ones like this where I'm testing the wick sizes in them. I've got some where I'm testing new wax, which I'm not too happy with how that one has burned down, but I really can't go a bigger size wick because I think I'll end up with more issues than it's actually worth. And then I've just got other candles on here. I've got this one here, which I will show you in a moment, which is not one of my candles, but I will show you that one too. But basically I am testing these two jars because I really like them, and I'm looking at introducing them into my range of candles. But I'm trying to find the correct wick size, and to be honest, I'm really struggling with it. And what works for one person may not work for somebody else, because it is all dependent on the type of wax that you use, your fragrance oils, whether you colour or don't colour. And then you've got all the different types of wicks that go into them as well. Then there is also comes down to how you actually make your candles. I have found in the past that if I do a quick candle where I melt it in the microwave, it does actually change it because of how hot the wax could potentially get, which is why I never do my wax in the microwave anymore and always do it in the melt pot, so I always get consistent results. But I am having to test these two size candle jars, and I will be honest, I am really struggling with it. I've always struggled with these jars, but I've always liked them. I've tried testing them numerous times in the past, but I really want to swap to them, really want to keep them. This is the second time I've tested it. The first time I put in a wick, I had the largest wick I could use, and I just felt that it was burning too hot. I was getting black smoke come off it. It definitely was not self-consuming at all, and the wick needed trimming halfway through a burn, which it really should not. If you are burning your candles for the recommended 4 hours, you shouldn't have to trim your wick during that burn. If you're power burning for 6, 7, 8 hours, which you really shouldn't do with candles, then you are likely to have to trim wicks halfway through a burning session. But when you only burn them for 4 hours, you shouldn't have to trim your wicks if they are wicked correctly. And I was finding with the largest wick, it wasn't burning nicely at all, and I wouldn't have been happy. So I've brought it down 1 wick size, and I'm now not happy. I think you can see it against the black. I love the colour against the black, but you can see all that wax that is stuck up the side of the jar. That means that wax isn't being used up, so I'm not entirely happy. We only burnt this one for 2 nights now, I think, and it may actually start to catch up on itself now it's dropped down. Sometimes you find, because we are in winter now, sometimes you find the cool air really affects how well the top of the candle burns. So by the time it comes down a little bit and that cold air isn't touching as much of that top area, it may catch up and it may start burning nicely. So I'm going to keep burning that one to see what happens, but I'm definitely not happy with this one. So I originally started off in this jar as a HTP 105, and again I felt the flame was too big, the wick wasn't burning down. The wax was disappearing quicker than what the wick could actually burn at. And so I dropped it down to 104, and you can see that it is tunneling. Now, the only thing is, I'm not sure whether it is the wick that's the problem, or it got lit the other day and was only lit for about half an hour to 45 minutes, so I didn't have a full melt pool on it. And then we were going to go out and I had to blow the candle out. Now, sometimes when you do that with a candle and you haven't achieved that full melt pool across the top, every time you light it after that, it just keeps tunneling down. It's called a memory. So I'm not sure if that is tunneling because it's got a memory of where its first burn was, or if it's the wrong wick. So I'm going to have to I'm going to power burn that one tomorrow, which I said is really naughty, but I'm going to put it on first thing in the morning, and I'm going to burn it all day just to try and get rid of all the wax that is in there. And then I will remake it and retest it with the 104, because it actually does burn really nicely with the 104. The flame's really quite pretty to watch, but all that leftover residue is just not what I need in a candle. And the reason I say that, this candle here, I'm not going to show you who it's from. I bought this one because I actually fell in love with the label when I saw it on Instagram, and they are actually the same. They're sister jars. This is an Oxford, this is a Cambridge, so they are basically the same. It's just the base that is different, and I wanted to see how it burned, how another company got it to burn. And I also knew that I also know which wax that they use, so I decided to get them in. But look at that. That is tunneling badly. I have never ever achieved a full melt pool on the top of that candle. It smells absolutely amazing, but I never achieved that full melt pool on that first burn. And on the first burn, we had it going for the full 4 hours and never got that full melt pool on the top. I've got another one downstairs that is just not burning properly either. So it's a real shame, because they're not a little company. They're a fairly big company, but obviously they need to do a little bit more testing. But otherwise it does smell nice. What I will do with this, we'll keep burning until the point where that wick actually drowns itself out, and then I'll scoop the wax out and I'll put it into my oil burner so I don't actually waste any of it. It smells absolutely beautiful. It's called Rosemary and Clementine, and it's really, really nice, but very, very badly wicked. So that is why you really should be testing your candles. But I'll keep testing mine. I'm actually going to test this one because I'm interested to see if that is going to catch up on itself. So I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me this week and seeing some of the extra things that do go on behind the scenes. It's not all just about making and putting together different recipes. It is a lot of testing that goes on in the background, trial and error, and testing new things out. It is vitally important that you do testing within your business. And also, like I do with my candles, I regularly test them throughout the year to make sure that nothing has changed from off my suppliers as well. Yes, it does cost money to do testing, but if you're not doing your testing and something has actually gone wrong with a product, it's ultimately going to cost you even more money because your customers will stop buying from you. So it's really, really important to be doing testing along the way. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me this week, and I will keep you updated on what I have been testing and how things go. If you follow along with me over on Instagram, I'll be sharing them over there. So thank you so much for joining me this week, and until the next one comes out, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you then. Bye.